Hope you're all doing well. I'm just looking at the snow. I feel a bit cold. Look at the temperatures that could be there. I mean, could reach below -0. So maybe it's a -40 or -40. So it is really cold over there.
So I was actually just joking at the first. So I'm not cold. It's quite warm in here. So just wanted to tell you that we're using the negative numbers also to determine the temperatures. So the temperatures could be uh, really cold. So how do we represent those temperatures? Let's first look at this number line first over here. So let's have the number from the 0 to the number 5, and you can find this. There's some of the so we're doing actually rule number 1 here, which is counting in steps of 1. So let's have a look first what we're actually going to be just doing before the number 0. So I'm actually going to just put the number 1 over here first. So what is this one? There's something besides that's called a negative or a -1. You can just say a -1. So before -1 we have the number a -2, and so on. We have -3, -4, and -5. So let's look how the number line is actually like. So if you look here, we have the 0. What's after the 0 is 1, 2, 3 until 5. What's before the 0 is from -1 or from -1 and so on. So actually a minus or -1 is not bigger than a 0. It's less than a 0. Just like if you look at the temperatures at different colder areas, you may find the temperature is minus or below a 0. So that doesn't mean it's actually hot. No, it's colder than a 0. 0 is warmer than these numbers. So I'm talking about temperatures, but I'm saying here that these numbers are less than a 0. So the more you go towards this arrow, that means the number is becoming bigger. So this is for rule number 1, which is counting in steps of 1. Let's go to the next rule that we have here, and we got rule number 2. So we have count in steps of 2. How is this going to be possible? So we have here a 0, number 2, and a 4. And now we're counting in steps of a 2. That means I'm putting my -2 here. I'm skipping the -1 or -1. I'm going now to -4. So which number is bigger? Is it the number 4 or the number, is it the -4 or -2? So -4 is actually smaller than -2, and it's -4 is smaller, of course, than 2. So this is positive. It's actually +2. It's a positive. So it's this one is bigger than -4. Let's go to the next rule. Now we have here rule number 3, or any rule that we have. We don't have to count or just say rules, but this is just to remind you what rule I'm just working on here. So we have here -3, -6. Okay, so this should be quite simple for us. And what are we actually supposed to be working on for today is the following. Let's have a look at our math pupils book. So we have different people standing in front of fridges. So what's inside the fridge? We have different types of juice or dairy products, and some frozen or a freezer that has a temperature which is below than a 0, which is a minus or a -8 degrees Celsius. And the temperatures may vary in different devices. So, for example, it is 2 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees Celsius, and -8 degrees. So they're talking about what temperature are drinks kept at. And is that the lowest temperature here? So they're just looking at the temperatures. So what we're actually going to focus on is to recognize negative numbers and describe and continue number sequences involving negative numbers. And how are we going to use the negative numbers in our lives? Okay, let's have a look here. Now remember the number sequences that we have. So we have the 188, 800, sorry, 888, 886, 884. That should give us the clue that we're actually skipping by 2. Okay, so let's have a look here. What we really have. Remember the number 9 that we did in the place values at the first term that we had. So we have here, for example, the number line, which starts from the 0 and so on. But what's beyond? What's actually before the 0? So here's a question mark here for you. Let's have a look at the next number line, what we have here. So you can see the negatives, the negative numbers, how they actually go back, and they become bigger and bigger. Okay, so this is an idea that we have. Let's just do a quick practice here, and maybe you can help me do this one so quickly. So we have a frog. This frog is gonna jump to different areas. So let's try to find out here what is the number that is in each box. Let's say, for example, here we have a negative 14, a negative 12. We have a negative 8, negative 5. So each box will determine for you the number. I would like you to use this PowerPoint presentation so that you may tell me what number is in each box. So I will send this to you in the SharePoint and the WhatsApp, so you may be able to use it and find out the answers. So let's just keep on going, and let me just tell you something here. And you will just try to find out the number of spaces that the frog jumped. So it will tell you different types of strategies that you may be using to determine the number of steps using negative numbers and the positive numbers. Okay, now let me just tell you one thing that you'll be doing actually for today. So you're gonna be using page number 126 in the math activity book, and it's not only this page actually, but you're gonna be using also page 125, page 126 until 127 for today. So you're going to be answering all of these using the negative numbers and the positive numbers as well. So let's talk, for example, I just want to focus on question 3A and B. So you'll be able to answer the following questions on your own, because this could be a bit confusing, but I'm going to answer it for you, so you might be able to do it on your own. Let's say, for example, here, I'm going to use my pencil and try to find out what is the answer that might be here. So if you could just look at the numbers here, we have number 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that means 1 is going, it's becoming bigger here, but what's before the number 1? So let's start doing this together. So we have here the number 0. Yes, so let's go back more than the number 0. Let's try to find out. So negative 1 and negative 2. So that should be this is how our answer should look like. So here is the rule. What is the rule that we're using here actually? So we're actually doing, let me just try to make my font smaller. Here we go. So we have now, okay, so counting or count back. And how many numbers are we using? Are we skipping by 1 or 2 or 3? So we're counting back in ones. Okay, count back in ones. So we're counting back, we're not counting forward, we're counting back. Okay, let's try to use this one here now. So what number do you think that could be in this? So 3b that we could be using here. So we have -2 or -2, -1, 0, 1. So that means the numbers are becoming bigger because these are the smallest number that we have amongst all of these numbers. So -2, -1, 0, 1, that should continue to 2, 3, and a 4. Okay, so what is the rule that we're using here is actually we're counting or count on in ones. Okay, so this is the rule. Don't forget, please write down your rule. What rule that we're using to count here. Okay. So I hope you just have fun with this, but I'm just gonna tell you that there is gonna be one worksheet I'll be using for today. So here is the worksheet that we'll be working on for today. So if you just try to look at it, what it says here, you have to mention two places in each box below and where you may find negative numbers. So you can just draw them and describe in number one and two, where could we find negative numbers in our lives? Maybe around you at your house or anywhere. Try to find out where. You could just draw something here to describe where you could see the negative numbers, and you can describe it. So you can draw on both boxes and describe to me and tell me where could you find these negative numbers. So it's an easy exercise just for fun. So later on we're gonna work on different ideas how to use the negative numbers. So good luck, guys. Please don't hesitate to come back to me and let me know if you have any concern, you want me to answer anything for you. Please just let me know. Take care, guys. Bye bye.